between the Jumbos of Tufts University and the Polar Bears of Bowdoin College. As it stands, this is a pivotal game in terms of the final NESCAC standings, and specifically at the top and the bottom. Tufts are currently vying for the #1 seed in the NESCAC tournament. Middlebury won earlier today. They did their job, and they made sure that Tufts need a draw or a win in order to guarantee their #1 seed status. Meanwhile, Bowdoin at the other end are fighting for their lives, trying to make sure they can qualify for the tournament at all. As things stand, they are waiting to hear the outcome of the Colby Gates game, which is ongoing right now, but they will need to win tonight in order to guarantee their safety no matter what happens today. I am joined by Max Antini and Riley Daniel. My name is Micah Baum, and we are excited to bring you this game. And it's going to be a really tricky game to analyze ahead of these two perennial opponents, especially towards the end of the season.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. As you mentioned, this is a very frequent matchup towards the end of the season, especially. We had two matchups just last year, the final game of the regular season between Tufts and Bowdoin, and then the quarterfinals between Tufts and Bowdoin, which ended up being a victory both times for Tufts. And so we are yet again at the end of the season with the Tufts Bowdoin matchup, which, as you mentioned, doesn't have a huge effect on either of their matchups against each other, but Tufts obviously have their goal. They want #1. Bowdoin want to get at least into the tournament. But that Bates Colby game, as you mentioned, is currently in favor of Colby. So Bowdoin may be aware of that heading into this, but should be an exciting one. I think we could maybe even see another NESCAC quarterfinal between Tufts and Bowdoin. So
I think it's very likely, in fact.
It is very likely. We look at this Jumbos team, and obviously there are some keys that you look at. As Micah pointed out to all of us in the JumboCast chat, this is a Jumbos team that's been really, really good at getting goals off of set pieces. In the last month, they have not, however, scored a NESCAC goal from open play since October the 5th against Trinity. That is something they really need to rectify because as good as they have been from set pieces, they're not going to achieve the goals they have of winning an NESCAC title and getting back to the Final Four if they cannot score from open play. You take that, and then you have to also watch out defensively because Bowdoin is still a very, very talented offensive team. They have 30 goals on the year. They have some ridiculous individual playmakers like Tyler Huck and Ronaldo Cabral who can cause problems. So you cannot give them too many gilt edge opportunities because for everything Nick Ontich has done, there is a limit to if you give enough chances. This is a Bowdoin team that will find the back of the net like they've been able to do against top-class opponents. They scored 2 against Middlebury before collapsing down the stretch.
It's really going to be an interesting matchup as Tufts have been one of the best defensive teams in the country. Bowdoin have been very hit and miss in attack, but we know that they can hit. They showed it last year and in spurts this year, Max.
yeah, and especially with this year, you'd say for Bowdoin, it was kind of a fall off compared to last season. They did finish 5th in the NESCAC, and this season wasn't necessarily. They still produced goals. They still had the names, as you mentioned, Cabral and Huck. They did produce, but they just couldn't convert in those NESCAC matchups, which really is what matters when you want to climb the table. So they currently sit at 9th, which is not at all where you want to be, but it could be, or at 8th, excuse me. So they have their future in their hands, though, and I think that's what matters getting into the tournament. And then it's kind of a reset from there. So I think this game could be a learning experience heading into the quarterfinals. As I mentioned before, we could see Tufts and Bowdoin on Bello yet again. And for the Jumbos as well, they could be hosting with a win on Bello here today.
And ahead of that, we have to look at this Tufts defense, I think, because as we said, one of the best defensive teams in the nation. They are the second best in the nation in terms of goals allowed per game. And that's not even taking into account the fact that they're playing the NESCAC, one of the best conferences, if not the best conference in D3 men's soccer at the moment. And they've had some outstanding players on the back line. We've talked about Nikola Ontic so many times already this year. He is on course for the best season as a goalkeeper in Tufts University history. He's only conceded 3 goals this year. Tufts as a program has only conceded 4. He has just been impenetrable in the Jumbo's net. But I also want to highlight one other player on the back line, Owen Demby. He has very rarely gotten his plaudits, but if you look at the statistics, only 3 players have started every single game for Tufts this year. It's Bijan Akhtarzandi Das, who's a midfield staple, Mikey Brady, who is the attacking talisman, and in defense, it's Owen Demby. He usually plays at left back. He's played at right back a couple times, but he has been literally ever present throughout the Jumbo's first lineups. And I think he has gone very much under the radar, but he has just been so calm and cool on the ball, and he brings such a great presence to that defense that has allowed them to progress to such great heights this season. I think Bowdoin will have a very difficult time getting past him alongside the rest of the Tufts defense tonight.
That Tufts backline with a goals conceded average that the likes of which we haven't seen in maybe 5 years, 6 years. I think the lowest count would date back to 2018 with Con College. So, and that just shows you the level of this Tufts side right now. Formerly number 1 in the country, now dropped to number 2 due to University of Mary Washington. But I think Tufts with a win today could really staple their place in the number position, and Middlebury will obviously be looking very closely as well, as they did manage to win over Williams today.
Yeah, and who do we think, Riley, is going to be Bowdoin's person to look to in attack in order to get past this wall, really, of a Tufts defense?
Yeah, I have 2 names that I want to look at. First is Tyler Hawk, 8 goals, 4 assists on the year. He is their number 1 playmaker, now has 20 goals for his career, still only a junior. So someone who is a prolific goal scorer, prolific distributor, and someone the Jumbos have to keep an eye on from the opening whistle. And then the other one I have an eye on is someone you and I know very well, Max, and that's Felipe Rivera-Duran, because he had that goal that got Bowdoin back into that NESCAC quarterfinal, a gorgeous free kick past Nick Ontich. And so if Bowdoin can get themselves into any set piece chances, he becomes an immediate threat to not just put good balls in, but put them on net and challenge Nick Ontich.
As you mentioned, Reda Duran got the goal last time, the only current member of the Bowdoin roster to have scored against Tufts. That game ended 2-1. But today, I'm interested in what you guys' predictions are for tonight's matchup. Riley.
Yeah, I've been pondering this all day. I feel like there's just nothing that indicates this Tufts team is going to concede. They've only conceded 2 goals in NESCAC play. Both of those were when they were up 3 goals with less than 20 minutes left. I don't see us getting into that situation today. Give me a 1-0 Tufts win with another goal off a set piece, because I just don't know if this team has the ability to score an open play right now.
Max?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Tufts have just shown that they're very gritty, and being at Bello, it makes it even better for them. As you mentioned as well, they haven't. The last time they conceded was the 1-1 draw against Babson, which was a very intense game. And I'm from what the expectations are, I don't think it will reach that level. So I think Tufts can be composed. They have all the names, they have the depth, they have those 5th-year players like Denby and Brady. So many experienced names. So I'm gonna go with perhaps a 3-1. 3-1 for the Jumbos. We could see Durant on the score sheet, but more likely Huck, if I had to guess. And for the Jumbos, could be anyone. Everyone's been producing, but maybe a Gherkin goal or assist.
My brain was also going to 3-1 as you're talking there, but since you took it, I think the next logical place to go is a 2-0 to Tufts. It's just going to be a difficult one for Bowdoin in order to get things over the line tonight, but they'll be hoping and praying that Colby can do the job for them. Until then, we will get ready for the kickoff. Until then, please stay with us, and we look forward to bringing you the rest of this game.
Get ready.
Testing. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm ready when you guys are.
You got me? Good.
Yeah, I got y'all. Actually, could you turn me down in the rolls box a bit?
Wait, I can't hear myself.
Oh, that's not good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I'm fine.
Which one am I on the rolls box?
You might have to rescrew that in. I don't know.
What?
Rescrew that one in.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, that's better.
Rescrew that headset in, maybe, or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready when you are. Okay. Actually, at this point, should we just wait until after Anthem?
Yeah, we should wait until after the
Yeah.
Millie. Hold till after the anthem. We're too late.
Game will go final while I'm doing the intro.
Corner kick. They need 2 goals in 150 seconds.
to Bellow Field here in Medford, Massachusetts for the Tufts men's soccer regular season finale as they face off against the Polar Bears of Bowdoin College. This is a matchup which has had so much on the line in recent years as it has closed out the regular season for both teams every year since 2008. Last year, this game decided the middle of the NESCAC, with Tufts emerging victorious to claim the 4 seed. This year, however, the teams have diverged to either end of the playoff picture. Number 2 ranked Tufts Jumbos have been dominant this year. One of just 6 undefeated teams left in D3, the Jumbos have become the best defensive team in the nation this year. You can literally count on one hand the number of times Tufts has conceded, and you'd still have a finger left over. This dominance has put them in pole position to claim the NESCAC regular season title with just a point tonight. Not only that, but a point would make this Tufts' most successful NESCAC season ever. Even under Josh Shapiro, who led Tufts to 4 national titles, the Jumbos couldn't muster more than 23 points. But tonight, Coach Kyle Destel has an opportunity to prove himself a worthy successor to the best coach in Jumbo's men's soccer history. For Bowdoin College, we are watching live as the seconds tick down in the Bates versus Colby game to see how that will decide their fate. It is currently 3-3 with 20 seconds left to go. That may go final right as we go live. But I'm joined by Max Antonini and Riley Daniel to bring you this great matchup. My name is Micah Baum. And Riley, assuming that nothing happened
I
in
don't
the
think
last
we
20
can
seconds,
assume anything.
you can't assume
right
anything.
Now.
Bates were down 3-1. They have brought it back to 3-all with 20 seconds left.
Yeah, and I mean, it will really change the dynamic of this game, at least on the Bowdoin perspective. If Bates were to get a goal here, Bowdoin would then need a win here on Bellow just to make the NESCAC tournament. Versus if Bates cannot get a win, they would get in as the 8th seed automatically, regardless of the results tonight.
As you mentioned, all to play for. This is the final match of the evening as we see a shot that just went past the post in the Bates game, but 10 seconds to go. But yes, in the context of on Bellow Field, Tufts are playing for that number 1 seed, which would mean they host the entire NESCAC tournament, which I think would be a delight to see, as we haven't seen that in quite some time. And I think we'd like to host that. We'll have the NESCAC quarterfinals for you this weekend on JumboCast.
Yeah, speaking of final, it did go final from Waterville, a 3-3 draw, and we could hear all the way across the field the Bowdoin parents section letting their team know that they have just clinched a spot in the NESCAC tournament. We're going to have to wait a second until that scoreboard can turn back on as Mikey Brady looks set to kick off here on Bellow.
This is going to be an interesting one to deal with mentally for Bowdoin as they came into tonight not knowing what they would have to do, and now literally seconds before kickoff, they have been told that they do not need to do anything. Colby have just about done all the hard work for them, although they nearly let it slip right at the end. Tufts, meanwhile, still have hard work to do if they want to clinch that number 1 seed in the NESCAC tournament.
They do. They just need a point tonight, and they would get to 24 even with Middlebury. They have the tiebreaker thanks to a better result against Amherst, who are going to be the 3 seed in the NESCAC tournament.
To run you through the Tufts starting lineup, pretty standard as far as things go. It's Antich in goal, Clivio, Bargania. You have Jet, Feinberg in the back line, Schultz, Yanez. Yanez is a new name, I'd say.
I've got to intercede, Max.
Tell me.
We currently do not have a scoreboard here on Bellow.
Oh.
Don't
Well,
quite know what's going on.
Guess we're playing in the dark.
We do have the lights.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
As long as the scorers have the scoreboard and the referee has the clock, and we can get by.
We have our own clock.
We'll get you what we can in terms of time left, as this one will be a free kick from deep for Taylor Feinberg.
But to run you through again, Antich, Clivio, Bargania, Yanez, Schultz, Brady, Jet, Gherkin, Feinberg, Owen Denby, and Bijan Akhtarzandi Das.
And here is Owen Denby.
Flicks that one to the corner for Jet's chase. Fighting for it as the scoreboard does come back on. Sent to the middle. Yana's going to chase it. It's intercepted, and now Bowdoin are going to try and break. Here's Pacelli. Player goes down. He lays it back.
Yeah, going down behind the play was Arthur Dos Santos there. It looked like he just caught feet with Ethan Jett.
Now wide to Huck. Here's Steinberg. Trying to find the feet of Cabral up top. Gets hounded by 3 Jumbos, and eventually the latter comes away with it.
And as the Jumbos bring the ball up, we'll look at this Bowdoin starting lineup. A lot of their usual faces, Alex Ainsworth, Paul Surkoff. One notable change was made right at the starting whistle with Drew Phillips coming in for Travis Ishibashi, a defensive substitution for the Polar Bears. And of course, the guys you have to watch out for, like Ronaldo Cabral.
Although we were mentioning before the game, someone that we will be looking out for should you see the field tonight, Reda Duran has not started a lot this year, still not starting again tonight.
Yeah, he's someone who's very talented, especially with the ball at his feet, and so he's kind of what Daniel Yanez was to the Jumbos the games he didn't start. He's your super sub, so you have to keep an eye out for him.
And for Reda Duran, I mean, 10 goals last year, joint highest in the NESCAC. That was quite the title, and I think he had all the momentum heading into this season, but only 2 so far on this year. So opting for that super sub role, you might see him later on in this match, of course, but the consistent name has been Tyler Huck throughout this Bowdoin season with 8 goals on the year. So I'm sure the Tufts back line will be aware of him.
Yeah, I think I'm interested in what the fact that that result went final does to the rotation for Bowdoin, because theoretically they have nothing in terms of the NESCAC standings to play for tonight. So does that mean we see more significant squad rotation, or do they treat this like a playoff preview, which it very well could be?
Yeah, I think this is one where you learn from, as you're very likely to be playing on this pitch in just a few days' time. So I think both sides recognizing that perhaps the intensity is not as much as it could have been heading into today, but learning experiences for both sides, I'm sure. But regardless, a win would mean so much. Getting into your opponent's head heading into the weekend.
Bowdoin are locked into that 8 seed. Tufts, if they win or draw, will be the 1 seed. If Bowdoin do win, then they would go against the number 3 team in the country. Not much better than the number 2 team in the country, Middlebury in that case. But they have been a very familiar face for the Jumbos in the first round of the NESCAC tournaments. This would be the 5th year in 9 that they come to Bello or Tufts go to Brunswick in order to contest that first round. Here's Octazandi Das. Flicks that one wide to Demby. Jet is narrow. He plays that into Brady instead. Flicks up in the air, goes down. And eventually, Bowdoin's still trying to come away with it. Jet's shot gets blocked. Now it's cleared. Clevio's going to pick up the pieces. Demby goes to ground. No call, and Huck is going to try and spring the counter. Here's Pacelli. Cabral. Still running is here's Surkov. Cuts inside. Now back to Phillips, and Bowdoin couldn't quite capitalize on the countering opportunity.
Tufts playing pretty deep here, almost 9 outfield players behind the ball, so really making sure to sit back and watch the Bowdoin attack come towards them, and then perhaps counter with Brady as the sole striker.
I mean, I kind of like that decision from Desatel. You don't have to go for the win tonight, and more importantly, Bowdoin is a team that likes to attack. You can catch them in the counter where you've been so lethal all year.
Here's Huck in between the lines. Back to Steinberg. Tufts not giving an inch, but Cabral finds one anyway. Cleo's going to have to clean it up. Does so, only as far as Steinberg. Now Giannis trying to go the other way. Has Octazandi Das, who leaves it for Barganya. Now Schultz is going to try and run onto this one. Looks like Ainsworth is going to have no trouble with that. Barganya gets the ping back towards Ainsworth's goal. Huck's feeling the pressure from Gherkin. Stays up.
That's a bad giveaway.
Misplaced switch. Here's Schultz. Cuts wide. On his right foot. Shot coming in, and Ainsworth saw that go wide. It was a dangerous opportunity there from the giveaway from Huck.
Yeah, I want to go back to that pass there from Daniel Yanez. The just increase in communication and kind of perception between the Jumbos. Bijan Octazandi looked like he was going to go get that ball, and at the last second just knew where Mateo Barganya was going to be, let the ball run to him, and allowed Barganya to play that through ball. Those are the sort of things we weren't seeing a month ago.
This is the time of season. This is the end of the regular season. It is almost crunch time. You need those things to start clicking. As here is Octazandi Das. Wide to Barganya. Schultz is going to be asked to chase this one again. Or in fact, Brady will get there first, gets the touch. Shielded out well by the Bowdoin defender.
Yeah, both these teams have had pretty intense matchups in recent memory, with Tufts playing against number 3 Middlebury, as you mentioned, just last weekend, which ended in a 0-0 draw. Bowdoin just coming off a 3-1 loss against number 12 ranked Amherst. So both these sides with lots of tough competition in recent memory, and I think this one they'll really want to show their worth heading into the NESCAC tournament. And for Bowdoin, that Amherst game, sometimes once you let those goals in early, it can run away from you. Hawk did manage to get, or was it Rudy Duran who got on the score sheet in that game? So expecting perhaps to see him. He knows his way around this field, perhaps.
He does indeed. Had that beauty of a free kick at the NESCAC quarterfinal a year ago.
Still no sign of him here tonight. Gherkin lays it back for Barganya. Long ball from Feinberg. Schultz held the run. He thought he was offside, and it went out of bounds anyway.
It's a good idea there from Feinberg. Had the reverse. And if he just keeps that ball a little bit narrower, he might have been able to play Schultz through.
Schultz looking lively already on the wings, as the Jumbos have had some issues keeping some of their wingers fit, as this one goes through to Brady, going up against two defenders. Out wide to Schultz. Step over. Goes towards byline, gets taken out.
That's gonna that might be a card, I think.
I think ref will just opt to let this one slide for now, but definitely Stern talking to caught him late on the challenge, and Tufts, the free kick, perhaps in a dangerous position, could be whipped in there by Gherkin on the far side.
That's the kind of airtime you expect to see on the basketball court.
It is. Though Bowdoin, no strangers to getting carded, have 22 on the season, including a red card picked up by Paul Surkoff in that game against Middlebury for 2 yellows.
Gherkin has been the source of so much magic for the Jumbos from set pieces.
7 assists on the year and leading the team in points.
There's the delivery, cleared by the first man, goes to Schultz, but that is a miscued shot, never troubling Ainsworth.
Kind of want to step over that ball there when it comes out to you. He's kind of leaning back and side-footed, kind of a half-hearted attempt, but shot nonetheless, and Tufts will look to keep the ball here in the attacking third.
Macaoni with the ball in defense for the Polar Bears.
And you see Tufts really just relax and let the Bowdoin attackers or Bowdoin defenders come towards them and kind of play off of their mistakes. Perhaps, as you mentioned, not knowing that the pressure isn't as high, but kind of surprised we aren't seeing as much wide play as we normally see from Denby, Jet, and Barganya, who are such great creators for this tough side.
Yeah, that's a great point, Max. I really have to think about the standings and how much that might be playing into Kyle Desitello's thought process. I think he knows how good his defense is, and if Bowdoin decides they want to play for a win and not just sit back and play for a 0-0 draw, they're going to have to go and commit numbers forward, and the Jumbos have been so good at turning those offensive opportunities into counters.
Here's Steinberg. No one was making the run. As you mentioned that we don't know how Bowdoin will adapt to this rotation, and one possibility is certainly that they kind of take their foot off the gas. This one's sent forward for Brady. Ainsworth has it under control. But there is also a chance that their coach tells them, Coach Scott Rosinski, that they have nothing to lose now. They can go out there and prove themselves against top 2 team in the nation. And they're certainly playing like that more so now.
That's absolutely a point. And if you think about it from a Bowdoin perspective, there is a real chance that if they have a good run towards the end of this regular season and into the NESCAC tournament, they could get themselves an at-large bid. It's not out of the question. But if they want that as a shot, they really need to get a result here tonight. And so they do have something to play for, not in terms of the NESCAC, but in terms of their national hopes.
We saw that with the Tufts women's soccer team just last year. I mean, not the most exciting of regular season, but managed to get a very impressive win against top 5 ranked MIT, which allowed them to enter the NCAA tournament and make that famous Final Four run.
Here's Bowdoin coming forward. Feinberg makes the intervention, goes down and wins the foul.
You mentioned one of the injured wingers. Tufts Fitness has not been able to keep on the pitch. One of them being Xavier Camfin, a number of 5 goals on the year, leading this team in goals with some clutch ones against Williams and Babson. So it seems like, well, Tufts definitely have found a replacement for him and found a way to adapt. It's one of those names where you hope to see him later on as the postseason inches ever so closely.
It's definitely a tricky one, as he was looking like the heir apparent to Sean Traynor. And he got that 5-goal mark, which was the elusive one for Tufts attackers in recent years. And then he got that injury against Bates. He's still hoping to come back before the end of this year, but for the moment, Tufts have been struggling by without him up top.
And you have to think that is a big factor in why they haven't scored any goals from open play in really since the start of the month.
Clivio, not the header he wanted, Bowdoin get a potentially dangerous throw in deep in Jumbo's territory. Puck's going to take it short. Finds Banks. Swerving this way and that, back to Steinberg. Pass is deflected by Jet, and Giannis comes away with it. Jet's making the run. Finds Gherkin instead. Now Jet's coming inside. Tufts taking their time. Bowdoin getting back into shape. Demby trying to find Gherkin on the wing. Left-footed cross comes off of Macaone. Will be a throw-in deep in the Polar Bears territory this time.
He saw quite a bit of space in between the lines, between the defense and midfield, and so it's a bit slow to capitalize on that. As Huck, you could see, collapsed onto Denby and Gherkin by the left corner flag. But it's something that Tufts, if it opens up quick enough, they can really expose the defense and perhaps find Jet, who cut inside one of those speedier players.
It's interesting. Schultz has really taken over long throw duties recently from Bargania. He's doing it again here.
Throw.
That one goes over Feinberg's head and right into the waiting arms of Alex Ainsworth.
And that's an opportunity wasted. You cannot do such a good job with that throw. Get the men out at the near post and then not have someone making a follow-up run. If there's someone making that run, it's 1-0 right now.
Yeah, crashing the boxes would be essential on those set pieces, and throw-ins not typically seen as a set piece, but very much so when you have a long throw like Schultz or Bergania.
Saw it a couple times in that Middlebury game as well, when Schultz's throws not quite as long as Bargania's or Brown's, and so the players were stacked at the back post and it came to the near post. That time it went over the near post runner. This one's going to roll through to Antic, who doesn't elect to pick it up.
Well, he couldn't
Yeah,
because
back pass.
Ghana sent it back.
Interesting choice of a back pass, but Jet comes away with it.
I missed the last contact there. Is that one almost, I think that Meg Steinberg on the way through. Here's Bargania. Bargania playing it back. One man presses on from Cabral.
No press whatsoever from the Polar Bears.
Here's Jet now. It's a great touch trying to get past Steinberg. Secondary contact is not called. Macaone gets the clearance in.
Eerily reminiscent of the touch from Mason Schultz that set up the Henry Perkins goal to give the Jumbos the lead in the NESCAC quarterfinal a year ago. That time, Steinberg was ready for it and read the play.
Yeah, Jet kind of felt that contact. Maybe was hoping for a whistle would come, but does a good job to still retain possession in the end.
Long diagonal from Clevia, looking for Schultz.
Almost pinpoint.
He's going to leave it for Bargania to run onto. Great first touch. Can he keep it in play? Just too much on it. And we'll go out for a goal kick.
Ooh, he took
It's
something there.
might have been a rug burn. That looked like a pretty bad slide, but he's up and running.
Yeah, that one's not going to leave any long-term damage, but he's going to feel that in the morning.
Yeah, it was a nice touch, though, to really give himself the space to work with, but a bit too much on it. If he had slowed it down just a bit, he would have been through on goal.
And again, that chemistry from that right wing. Mason Schultz, knowing where Bargania is going to be, lets it run through, gives him the chance.
Ball in here, Dos Santos. Twisting, turning. Lays it off, looking for Banks. Threw it away by Schultz.
Up the ref.
Now across for Surkov. Given plenty of time, plays it out wide to the left. Attempted to be put in by Phillips, cleared away in the end by Bargania. Bowdoin just trying to make some inroads in the attacking end.
Yeah, they definitely have managed to do so. Not quite testing the hands of Antic yet, but definitely building that possession, which can be very tough against the back line of back line and midfield of the Tufts Jumbos. So Bowdoin definitely showing signs, and definitely not signs of an 8th place team, I'd say.
No.
They just couldn't find the clinical edge in some of those conference matchups.
I mean, I think that tells you so much about the NESCAC, right? If they were in any other league, they'd be in the top 2. They'd be almost a shoo-in for an AQ. And instead, they need to probably win 4 straight games just to get themselves into the NCAA tournament.
Talk about other great teams that have not had a great season. Con College today losing. They won't even get the 5 seed this year. Williams are in the 4. One of the best teams in the history of the NCAA tournament. Is such a competitive conference.
Yeah, there's a non-zero chance that the NESCAC, if Bowdoin could go on a run towards the end of this season and into the tournament, could put 7 in the NCAA tournament with the new NPI system.
Trying to do just that. Pacelli lays it wide. Cross coming in, looking for Cabral. Gets the contact. And it's going to roll wide. Jet going to have to deal with it before it goes out of play. No, he will not. And it will be a goal kick.
That's interesting. Both teams thought that was going to be theirs. Jumbos were certain it was going to be a goal kick. Polar Bears thought it was going to be a corner.
Yeah, Jet opting to kind of casually let that one roll by, and correct decision in the end will be an Ontich goal kick. And so much to be said about Ontich. We highlighted him against the Middlebury game. Only 4 goals conceded on the year. It's quite outstanding. I thought the defense just gets better and better.
On the other end, here's Brady. And the tackle was great from Surkov to prevent him from getting the shot away. It will be a corner.
Yeah, last-ditch defending from Paul Surkov and a crucial intervention. He had to make challenges like that in that Middlebury game. Was able to come up with some of them, but got caught a few too many times with his hands in the cookie jar and got himself sent off.
Gherkin running over to take this one again. Yanez lurking outside the 18.
He has Schultz short.
Not going to take him. Lofted delivery in towards Barganya yet again. We saw that so many times against Middlebury. Yanez coming in. The whistle goes, presumably for a push on a Tufts player.
Yeah, that was kind of a running header by Giannis, kind of knocked his head into it. So good idea there. Barganya also with a header, but straight down into the ground, and 2 decent efforts on the set piece, but need to capitalize on those.
Yeah, you get the feeling that's one that Mateo Barganya is going to want back. He's a really good in the air, great aerial target, and normally puts chances like that at least on frame.
I think the fact that they have so many other more obvious aerial targets, likes of Clivio and Feinberg, and yet they keep going to him. They expect that the players on the opposing team are going to mark those players very tightly, but Barganya has a sneaky leap on him.
He does, and I think they've been proven right in trying to target him. I mean, we watched that Middlebury game. It must have been a half dozen times he was completely unmarked off corners.
Already has 1 goal on the year. Didn't manage in the Middlebury game, but did against Emerson down in Boston. It's a good touch there from Michelli. Gets past Jet, trying to line one up. Instead lays wide to Cabral. Steinberg cross. Headed clear by Feinberg. Goes down and again. Smart way to win the contact and relieve the pressure.
Yeah, and that's really an example of what the Jumbos have done so well defensively all year. But Shelley gets by the first man, right? He's forced to turn back, and by the time that ball comes in from Steinberg, there are 7 back in the box.
Yeah, it's kind of like an interesting setup where you have almost 3 layers of defense. You have you have Barganya, you have those wing backs, but you also have the center backs, more defined center backs in Feinberg, and Danby also playing as a wing back, and then Clivio being the last man to really shore things up. So everyone knows what to do when an attack comes in, and it's been a huge reason why I think the coaching of Desatel and his many assistant coaches.
Shout out to the Batista family.
That's right.
Batista, his first year as an assistant coach here at Tufts, he's having a pretty good start to life in Medford.
Yeah, this is a season you're going to put on your resume.
Long ball this time looking for Barganya. Manages to get it ahead to Schultz. Runs are forthcoming. Trying to find Brady. Headed clear. Only as far as Gherkin. Trying to get a shot away. Battling back and forth with Banks, and eventually Surkov manages to get the vital touch away.
Yeah, great intervention from Surkov. And then, ooh, that sure looked like a foul.
Barganya certainly thought so. He's not getting anything from the ref as Huck couldn't get that one away. Steinberg does it for him. Trying to find
Caught out.
And that is what Octazandi Das brings you in the midfield. He can sprint back and make sure that the defense is not cut out when they are set up like that. That's why he started every game this year.
See the hustle on his face. He made sure that he was going to be the first to that ball and headed it very calmly back to Ontich. But yeah, going back to that Barganya foul, seemed maybe he sold it a bit too much in the eyes of the ref, but there did seem to be some contact.
He sold it to me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And as we see here, the man we were talking about as a danger in the pregame, Felipe Herrera Duran, get a check-in at the next whistle for the Polar Bears.
Still haven't registered a shot of the Polar Bears, but you would expect that with someone as dangerous as him on the pitch, they will get something to test Ontich. Here is Jet, going the other way. Met by Banks, lays it back for Gherkin. Switched across. Barganya is going to have time to take this one, and he does well.
All 10 behind the ball now for the Polar Bears.
Clivio. The Jumbo's taking their time again. They have space to work with.
And that's what Clivio brings. His ability to hit those diagonal balls means that the Jumbos are one pass away, even when they're passing around here at midfield.
Yeah, really taking their time here. You kind of saw Bowdoin up the energy in the first 20. Now Tufts, kind of after withstanding that initial pressure, can opt to take their time, look for those long balls as Clivio pings one to the right side. But Tufts now kind of in a change of formation, change of attacking sense.
Schultz couldn't do anything with it on that far side. Now it's Bowdoin's turn to take things slow.
Yeah, I don't think either of these teams are going to be winning any awards for speed of play tonight.
Feels a lot like a chess match with the white and black pieces more than anything. But all it takes is one breakthrough.
Eerily reminiscent of the game these two teams played 2 years ago on the last day of the regular season. A game that finished 0-0 without a shot on goal. This one already still without a shot on goal. The Jumbos do have 4 shot attempts. Bowdoin still yet to record any stats other than fouls.
Rudy Duran now in the game for Ronaldo Cabral. So attacking change, one for another. Duran would look to make it back-to-back goals.
His first touch was a good one. Pacelli couldn't do much with it, though. Steinberg waiting for options.
We'll give you a quick update from around the NESCAC. From the other side of this matchup, up in Brunswick, on the women's side, it's now 2-0. Nicholas Summers doubles the Jumbo's lead. If they hold on there, they would lock up the 2 seed in the women's tournament.
So quite the successful season for both Tufts soccer sides. Tufts women's only trailing to Wesleyan, who've had an outstanding season of their own. But for the women, I feel like that Bowdoin game was one that was almost dreaded towards the end of last year. And now, with Tufts being in such great form and Bowdoin perhaps slipping off a little bit, they're also in prime position into the NESCAC tournament.
Oh, what a
great
ball.
run.
It's a great run by Schultz, but the pass was too far inside, couldn't find him. So we still have not seen any subs warming up for Tufts yet. Clivio wins the header, as you'd expect him to.
Well, how many attacking subs are still fit is the real question.
This is true. We saw Ben Werner had a pretty good run out against Hassan earlier this past weekend. Will Nicholas also has some good game time as this one sent towards Brady.
Brady being manhandled over there.
Of course, Henry Perkins very much the willing substitute for Brady, should that be called for.
One of the goal scorers in that NESCAC quarterfinal matchup just last year. So perhaps Destel will call him again to work his magic.
Demby taking his time. He looks to play as Clivio, trying to find Gherkin with the run, but not enough on the ball to keep it down. Runs through Dainsworth.
Well, Gherkin tried to flick that one on there. I think he thought Mikey Brady was making a run in behind. Unfortunately, the 2 super seniors were not on the same page.
Now Schultz is going to have to do some pressing. Surkov looking up the line to Pacelli. Hit the byline. Going up against Bargania. Right foot across, trying to find Duran. Cleared away.
It's the 3rd time a crucial intervention from Taylor Feinberg already tonight.
Bowdoin bring it around the other side now. Macaone. Into Steinberg. Finds Huck. He's been noticeably quiet so far tonight. Here's Banks.
Yeah, I was expecting you were to say his name every 30 seconds,
yeah.
Micah.
8 goals, 4 assists on the year. Already topped last year's tally with 8 goals, 3 assists that time. That was a first-team All-NESCAC season. You'd imagine he's similar standing this year, but has not done much tonight as of yet.
And
still plenty of time to do it, though.
That's NESCAC Rookie of the Year as well, so quite a lot of accolades on this pitch. In addition to Max Clivio, as I mentioned, 3rd-team All-American. Or first team, was it?
Clivio was first team.
Yeah.
Taylor Huck was a honorable mention
Tyler
All-American. And that was not a challenge that Ethan Jett's going to think favorably upon.
He already has 3 yellows on the season. Make that 4. That was a reckless challenge at the least from Ethan Jett. And there is a player down as a result.
And that's something that you gotta start worrying about if you're Kyle Desatel, because 5 is the suspension threshold in the NESCAC, and if you get one in a NESCAC quarterfinal, Ethan Jett's not a player you could afford to have being suspended for a NESCAC semi or a NESCAC final.
Yeah, 5 being that limit. You also have 2 other players on that 3 yellow card mark. One of those being Bargania, who had 4 yellow cards last season. So this team's certainly aggressive, and for Jett, needs to be a bit more cautious now. Don't want to cause anything silly heading into the NESCAC tournament.
Perkins and Randolph, as well as Ben Werner, set to check in at the next opportunity. Schultz chasing that into the corner. Excuse me, that was Brady, as Bowdoin do well to play out of pressure.
Bowdoin also going to make a substitution. Adam Prince going to come in the first year.
That one, Chistave is ready to run. Demby's going to slow it down again. Feinberg stepping up. That one sent right in the gap between Demby and Jett.
Yeah, Feinberg upset. He wanted Owen Demby to make that run, and he's still having words with his wingback.
So will be Jett, Brady, and Schultz coming off. I think Coach Desdell opting to give Jett a rest, kind of cool his head heading into the last 17 minutes of this first half. So definitely the right decision. Keep things calm. Don't let things get out of control if you can't help it.
Gherkin with a good touch. Now Tufts looking to break. Going up against Banks. On to his right. On the ground looking for Randolph. Can't turn and still fighting for it. He wants a handball. He's not going to get it. Clevio gets a good touch. Back to Randolph. Clevio out of position, but Gherkin's going to pick it up. Beautiful spin move. That finds its way to Yanez. Now Randolph on the left. Squaring him up. Eventually, that was Steinberg who got the touch in, and Bowdoin, with the 2-on-1, dealt with it well.
Yeah, Randolph thrown straight into the action. You could see on his run heading in, that was Steinberg almost had a headlock around him. Wouldn't let him pass, but Randolph almost drew a foul involved in the play, trying to get past Steinberg with a cut inside, but yeah, subs thrown straight into the action. Will be a throw-in again, but Bargania opting to take the throw this time.
Schultz out. Bargania is called into action.
Tall guys into the box.
Only question is now you don't have Bargania's aerial presence. And that's the throw we can become accustomed to see. Headed out, looking for Gherkin. Perkins gets a touch. Still bounding around. Yanez with the shot.
Off the back
Feinberg.
of Livio.
Out to Randolph. Chips up one to the back post. Cleared away by Bowdoin. Ready to Duran. Pressed by Yanez. Eventually, Bowdoin gets the numbers there, trying to counter now.
3-on-3 it looks to be, but Tufts numbers sprinting back.
That one rolls through to Ontic as we have a light drizzle coming to join us here on Bello.
Knew it was too good of a year.
Yeah, we have been blessed with some sunny and calm days on Bello. Haven't even had to use the tent yet. So this is a new sight this year. But
I mean, nothing
hopefully it'll be all right.
like this matchup to bring out unusual weather. 2 years ago, we saw a whiteout game with the fog. Last year, we saw 80 degrees in November, and now the rain has come. Finally, a sense of normalcy in this matchup.
I was going to say, this is anything but unusual weather for Medford in October. Randolph took that one in the face, still fighting for it. Here's Rey Duran. Finds Dos Santos. Back to Duran. Trying to find Dos Santos back the other way, and Feinberg clears it away.
Ben Penske going to check in at the next whistle.
Steinberg casually cleared that one into Randolph, and now Perkins is going to try and chase this one.
Yeah, that deflection almost bounced into the open feet of Perkins. Could have turned and run with it, but luckily for Steinberg, saved by the deflection. Still Bowdoin ball.
Long ball has a bit too much on it.
I think they're trying to replicate Clivio there.
Yeah.
Not enough, not nearly enough to find his man, but subs will come in now.
And you can see Tyler Hawk dropping all the way back to midfield to try and get on the ball. Jumbos have done a really good job staying with him, and they're going to force him off with the Bowdoin substitution. Kido Ishibashi, who was in the starting lineup, then came out for Drew Phillips, will now return to the game.
It's only the third game all year that he has not started for the Polar Bears. Now I'll get a chance to show why he should be.
Yeah, Ishibashi and Kloski, two of the only defenders listed on their roster on the pitch right now, but clearly quite a few more playing back.
Great flick on there from Henry Perkins.
Now Randolph cutting towards the byline. Almost took his own legs out from under him. If that looked like an elbow in the face, but they're not going to call it. Here's Steinberg.
I think there might have been an elbow in the face. I also think Luke Randolph might have tried to commit a wrestling move on NESCAC television.
That was kind of a battle there. Randolph not successful in that contest, but Steinberg pretty aggressive there as well.
Play just getting a bit rougher around the edges here as we take under 15 minutes in this first half.
Well, it was feeling a little too nice for NESCAC men's soccer game, so
Agreed.
we had to bring some physicality.
Yeah, and last game of the season, definitely want to end it with a bang and make sure that you've given it your all in the regular season, and it's kind of a reset heading into that postseason. Not only in terms of your record, in terms of what's on the line, but I think mentally need to definitely reset in how you're approaching this game. As for many of these seniors and these super seniors, especially for Tufts, this very well could be their last game. So mentality switch.
Last regular season game.
Regular season game, of course.
Yeah, they will be here at some point on Saturday afternoon to play a NESCAC quarterfinal. We don't know the opponent or the time yet.
Banks picks that one off. Now Bowdoin looking to go into the attacking end as that one tried to play around the corner towards Ishibashi. It's a bit ironic. Ishibashi, as you say, one of the few defenders listed, but he plays more as a midfielder. Now Yana is trying to burst forward. Randolph makes the run eventually, but a bit too little too late. Now Denby has space to work with. Left-footed cross finds Randolph, and I don't think he was expecting it to come to him that fast.
I don't think he was the target. I think that ball was looking for Danny Yanez on the top of the box.
Yeah, that one pinged in there.
So that ball goes under our broadcasting table.
Make sure we have that for them soon.
This is why they have replacements. That one in towards Perkins. Dos Santos comes away with it. Clivio tries to shape that one. Werner battling with Surkov. Takes touch off of Surkov, and Werner wins the throw.
Good work there from Ben Werner to win the physical battle with Surkov.
Yeah, and it's those outside backs really making the Tufts lives difficult for those wingers, as you see Steinberg and Surkov not letting anything by them. But again, another throw-in will be the result of that battle.
Randolph is coming all the way across to offer short, not going to take him. Again, first head to the ball is a Bowdoin one. Yanez gets to it. He's going to line this one up. No, he's going to play it wide. Surkov tried to tackle it. Cross comes in, it comes deflected off. Will be another corner as Gibson Campbell was getting ready to check in, getting some more instructions for the moment.
I think calling that a cross is being a little generous. Mateo Bargana had one thing on his mind, and that was goal number 2 on the season.
And for Yanez as well, a smart ball to slip it through. I think he had all eyes, could have very much taken it himself and whip a shot on net, but smart ball in behind and corner out of it.
Yanez now standing over the corner. Outswinger looking for Feinberg. Takes touch off of Surkov again. Randolph keeping it in bounds. Werner. That one didn't have much shape on it. Easy to shield out for Banks.
And now that substitution you were talking about will come to fruition. Bargana going to come out. Gibson Campbell coming in.
Yeah, we'll get the last 10 minutes of this first half for Gibson Campbell, and a little break for Bargana, who has been hustling up and down the pitch. So another one of those super seniors. A full super senior back line.
Well, mostly. Owen Denby is a true senior.
As is Taylor Feinberg, I think.
Yes.
Then I stand corrected.
But
Seniors in any case.
Yes.
the rare all-senior back line.
It is interesting that Gibson Campbell, we haven't talked about much. He was the undisputed starter at fullback last year. He has rarely started this year, as Owen Denby has really made the left back spot his own. He and Bargana have been very solid. However, Denby caught out position this time. Cut inside from Ray Duran. That one sent too wide for anyone to get onto. Eventually, Surkov is going to chase it. Cuts to the byline. Shot attempted from Prince and eventually is cleared away. Still a chance here. Laid wide for Steinberg. Low cross, and Octazani-Das miscued that. Banks couldn't do much better with it. It'll go out eventually for a Tufts corner, but a dangerous looking opportunity.
That was shocking. I don't remember the last time I seen Bijan Akhtarjanidas make a mistake, let alone one in such a crucial position as he did there.
Sneak goal kick.
Saw James Flagg check in for Owen Denby and removing that all-senior back line. But Flagg definitely incorporated more recently this season, as previous 2 seasons has been marred by some injuries, but also a huge quality in the back line.
Only came back in that Husson game, got his first collegiate goal as well to make it 3-0. So here's Yanez going down the left, finds Perkins. Randolph couldn't get on the end of it. Perkins still fighting for it, gets it. And eventually it's cleared away off of the leg of Steinberg, and it will be a corner from this left-hand side this time.
Henry Perkins, consistently the hardest working jumbo on the pitch, and earns the team a throw-in a corner they did not really deserve.
Yeah, you can see Perkins waiting for Randolph to come through, and almost had the ball laid off perfectly to him, but Bowdoin getting a crucial touch. And yeah, as you mentioned, Perkins always working hard, always making sure he can create a chance, sometimes out of nothing.
Jumbo's now crowding the goalkeeper. First time we've really seen that tonight.
2 Bowdoin players are short to mark the option as this one comes in. Ainsworth sure-handed.
And had to be, because if that one got past him, Taylor Feinberg wasn't going to miss that chance.
Does well to find Ishibashi as well. Good slide tackle in the end on the far side to make sure that counterattack doesn't get anywhere. Bowdoin playing it around the back. Just under 7 minutes to go in the first half. Drizzle intensifying a bit here on Bello. As my trackpad is no longer cooperating with me.
Yeah, I had to turn the laptop off a while ago.
You made the smart decision faster as this one falls loose to Prince. Octazani-Das falls back to Prince, now laid wide. And that's
What a challenge!
That is why you sub in Gibson Campbell at the end of the half.
That veteran experience, perfectly timed, took the ball away, and Tufts wanted a counterattack, which still might be on.
James Flagg is chasing it. He is a surprisingly willing runner from the left back position. We've seen that a couple of times, especially when they play with a back 3 and he plays the left wing back. But couldn't quite get on the end of that one. Not for lack of trying. This one chipped forward, again looking for Prince. Only finds Antich.
And people ask why the Jumbos have the second best defense in the nation. It's that. It's you have guys on your bench, like Gibson Cable, who can come in and do that. And then you have another guy off your bench in James Flagg, who's running up the field chasing after the counterattack.
Ishibashi's touch is loose. Yanez. It's a nice idea with the first time ball, but Werner was not on the same wavelength.
Trying to replicate the Cole Palmer pass from the weekend. A turn and release.
He had to bring up Cole Palmer at some point, didn't he?
I mean, he sees quality. Almost shades of Palmer, you could say. But a good idea there still to break through that back line, as Bowdoin has been resilient.
Will Nicholas going to check in at the next whistle for a cameo here at the end of the first half.
Here's Macaone. Out wide Steinberg. There's a slip on the newly damp pitch.
Another one.
Yeah, you add leaves plus wet, and you have slippage galore.
This one finds its way wide to Campbell. Back to Feinberg. Campbell looking to play it long this time. Perkins trying to get around his man, can't do so. Banks well controlled. This one almost pops loose to Randolph, but they go long. Just becoming a bit more Route 1 here as Penske goes to the ground.
Yeah, Penske trying to poke that one back for Flagg, but under the pressure, can't time his pass perfectly. Ichibashi wanted to take that throw quickly, but Bowdoin sub will come in instead.
And Max, it's still 0-0, and we haven't seen him do a ton that's shown on the score sheet, but this really does feel like one of the best performances of the year from Danny Giannis so far tonight. The way he's been everywhere in the Jumbo's attack.
Yeah, Giannis not always been a name on that starting 11 throughout this season as he was last year, but really showing his form and why he's kind of a staple of that Tufts midfield, working, finding those through balls, and making that extra effort, as you see here, trying to apply the pressure.
Oliver Bruce was the sub for Bowdoin, not a particularly consistent player for the Polar Bears. Getting a chance to run out here. Surkov trying to make the overlapping run. Phillips did not see him. Now it's Banks with the switch. Finds Steinberg. Nicholas with the chase. And Ishibashi, again, got under that, not the touch he wanted.
Something that happens when you apply that chase, just as Nicholas did, as Giannis does, is it kind of gives your opponent less time to think, less time to compose themselves, and makes their lives much more difficult and can create those turnovers and loose passes.
Again, Antich, very calm and collected, and collects it calmly.
There you go. Hasn't even had a shot to deal with either on frame or not, so that has been the extent of his involvement in this match so far, just collecting and making sure things are under control, which, as far from a coaching standpoint, that's all you need. That's all you want.
Speaking of all you need, all you want, Jumbo's still 0-0, but that will do them. They only need the draw, remember, to go top of the NESCAC. Bowdoin, they don't have much, or they don't really have a horse in the race as to the result of this game with the NESCAC, although, as we said, still plenty of other undertones for them with this result. Here's Bruce running into the corner. Goes down, and the referee elects to give that one to a goal kick.
Well, I can tell you why. It's because he just lost an edge, and you're starting to see in real time this turf become an ice rink.
And yeah, if this one does end up being 0-0 on the day, that'll be Tufts' third on the year, and the third at home here on Bello with 0-0 draws against Con College and Middlebury just last weekend. So some scoreline, perhaps not unusual to this ground, but I think it's something that Tufts will not want to continue.
It's a good win by Nicholas, but opposite number 27, Steinberg, gets back and it clears it out for a throw-in. Flag sprinting forward to take it.
And I think that's the inexperience from Nicholas. In the high school game, you could probably cut that back inside. In the collegiate game, you got to send that ball through and give Henry Perkins a chance to go run.
It's always about finding the next man, finding the next opportunity to perhaps create something special that doesn't involve yourself necessarily, but another throw now.
It's a good one into a good area. Cleared away. No one was waiting to clean up the pieces.
Durant, the highest man up at the time he received that, so had to kind of dribble and take his time with it.
Everyone was in the box, so nothing really happened once it left.
Well, nothing really happened because James Flagg forced Rita Durant to completely turn around and killed any chance Bowdoin had of a counter.
Attempted counter here is Prince. Could he get on the end of that one? Not when you're going up against Max Clevio. That is a first-team All-American quality center back.
That's a first-team shield. I mean, completely eliminated the threat out of it. Got his body in between man and ball and made sure of it.
Ishibashi finds Durant.
Oh,
that is a tackle. And I
think
mean a football, American football tackle from Max Clevio, not what you were
I
expecting.
kind of agree with Scott Werchinski, as that's taken really quickly, that it should have been a yellow card. Unfortunately, that is not the first time tonight we've seen a very harsh tackle not get carded.
Still afters between Coach Roszinski and the referee.
Micah, I
that
think we
not do
answered our
anything.
question about whether or not Bowdoin cares about this game.
That was quite something. I don't think I've ever seen that on Bello. Livio not opting to use his legs and opted for the tackle, as you mentioned. Scott, Coach Wisniewski, still fuming about that, and we'll have some word to the referee after it.
Strange way to end a pretty strange half of football, as Tufts happy with the result going into halftime 0-0. We will be back in about 15 minutes to bring you the second half of action. Stay with us. Welcome back here to Bellafield in Medford, Massachusetts, as we are still 0-0 in this game between the Polar Bears of Bowdoin College and your Tufts University Jumbos. It was a somewhat chaotic half, especially towards the end, as there's some questions as to what's really on the line here, but both teams still trying to get something out of this one.
Well, we got something out of this.
We definitely got something.
We got a very clear audition tape for Max Clivio to be the next linebacker of the New England Patriots.
Yeah, that was quite something, and I'm pretty sure Bowdoin coach still not over it, but we head into the second half still with a 0-0 scoreline as we began, and for the Tufts Jumbos, this is the result they'd want, even though it might not be the most satisfying to a viewer, but 6 shots so far for Tufts with none on goal for either side.
Yeah, neither goalies had a particular amount of work to do today.
Bowdoin's trying to change that here. It is Pacelli, double teamed. Lays it back. Ishibashi and no one on the back post.
And it's that final ball. I think that's probably been the crucial factor that's been missing, is that they need to find that final runner. And as we just saw from Brady as well, a bit of miscommunication with Schultz to continue that chance and move the ball forward.
At the same time, as we mentioned in the start, Jumbo's not in any real need to get a goal here as long as they don't concede.
Now Bargani is losing his footing as drizzle has stopped here, but turf's still a bit damp.
Yeah, Bargania and Akhtarzani Das both wanted that ball, and perhaps a bit of miscommunication there. But Bargani with that long throw.
Dealt with well by Surkov, finds Ishibashi. Denby goes the other way. Brady with the flick on, trying to find Akhtarzani Das, who's sprinting forward from his 6th roll.
Yeah, and a big job there done by Jack Banks. It didn't look like he was involved in that play, but what he did was just use his body as a pick to keep Akhtarzani Das from getting through that back line and potentially getting it on net.
Notable change for the Jumbos starting this second half. Penske in midfield rather than Yanez, who has moved out to the left wing.
So Ethan Jett not in the starting lineup for the second half.
Yeah, perhaps that yellow card really keeping him glued to the bench, as Desitel not taking any risks.
There's a shot coming in from Bargania off the post.
Oh, I surely thought that crossed the line.
That looked like that kissed the inside of the post and may have found its way in, instead going all the way across the goal line to touch the other post and out. And he tries to give it another go.
I mean, wow. Mateo Bargania. It's a fantastic shot from an almost impossible angle you would expect. It seemed to be nothing on.
Yeah, it seemed to be a whipped ball inside more than anything, but found its way through the entire Bowdoin backline and past Alex Ainsworth and net. Wow, what a way to start. Perhaps a sign of things to come for the Jumbos.
Now Yanez. Right foot across, finds Brady. Touches away from him. And now Bowdoin trying to clear it out. Akhtarzani Das going the other way. Here's Brady. Cleared away, and there's a late tackle there, late contact. Brady's called for it.
Seemed like drew that contact more than anything, as Brady had gotten to the ball first, and then that Bowdoin challenge from Kluski came in, but called in favor of Bowdoin by the referee, so Bowdoin will have time to restart now.
Kluski looking no worse for wear. Here's Rita Duran.
Starting this half as well.
Yeah, no Cabral to start for the Polar Bears, as here's Gherkin.
Kind of a lazy clearance there, picked up by Gherkin.
Back onto his left foot, finds Schultz. Right foot across coming in, finds Brady, tries to flick it back towards Gherkin. Unsuccessful, and here's Pacelli going the other way. Finds Rita Duran. Shrugs off the challenge of Penske. Now goes to the likes of Feinberg. Bargani's the next to challenge him. He's still going. He's Rita Duran flicked up, and Antich didn't have much to do with it at the near post. Just had to catch it and keep it out of Bowdoin hands, or feet rather.
Kind of an awkward shot there. I thought he would opt for his left to kind of swing it across the face of goal, but instead opting for a kind of awkward right-footed chip that Antich perhaps wasn't expecting, but definitely was alert to as he reached up and grabbed that. So first shot of the game for Bowdoin in interesting fashion. Could have been a very well worked goal there by Duran as he blew by two Tufts defensive challenges.
Yeah, it was a world-class run that deserved a better finish than the one he gave it.
Now Brady's going to pick up the loose ball in midfield. Lays it off to Yanez. Yanez still looking cut in on his right. Back to Demby. Very shallow cross, and neither Gherkin nor Brady could get touch on it. Eventually, Brady just lays it back to Penske. Now wide to Bargania.
Jumbo's bench calling for some speed here.
Feinberg with time.
He's going to use it to find Yanez. Challenge coming in from Steinberg. Yanez evades it. Still has it, Dan Yanez. Now Bargania's making a run. It's not going to find him. Attribution Das is dropped to the left. And again, Tufts just not probing very hard at the moment. Now they're going to try and find Bargania on the near side. Headed out by Surkov. Now Reda Duran has space to run again. We saw how dangerous he was the last time he did.
This time he's got people in front of him.
Schultz tracking back, trying to slow down his progress, does a good job, and Penske just rides off that challenge.
Yeah, Reda Duran punching the turf behind the play. Upset.
I think because he knew that would have been a good chance if he managed to get away from those challenges. You could see as he was driving the ball up, kind of scanning the pitch, checking side to side where the Tufts Jumbos were, and did a good job to shrug a few off, but a bit too much in the end as he couldn't carry that run all the way.
This is turning into target practice for the Tufts center backs. Seen plenty of chip balls to their opposite fullbacks or opposite wingers. Feinberg's going to have to run onto that one as it come off his shoulder. Can only flick it up into the air and hope that Clevio can deal with it. But Bocelli somehow wins a header against Max Clevio. That was not on my bingo card.
Bocelli at 5'6". Yeah, definitely a tall task up against Clevio.
You don't say.
There is Clevio. The smart step, now looking for Schultz. Gets the header, trying to find Brady. Macaone marshals it, and Alex Ainsworth will have to just play it across.
Bad ball.
It's a dangerous-looking one from Ainsworth. Eventually, his defender manages to clear it away.
Perhaps a bit worse than it looked, as it was a comfortable clearance in the end, but it's dangerous to just lay across the face of goal when you're outside of your own net.
Especially with two Tufts attackers closing. Here's Kluski. Striding forward, no one challenging him yet. Finds Bocelli, trying to reverse that one through to Prince, and it was a nice idea, but Prince did not have the same one.
Yeah, again, it's that final ball. It's trying to find the run inside, but perhaps with the rain on this pitch, that final ball skipping a bit too far, and targets not being found quite as much as they'd want to.
Kluski, that's a giveaway. Brady has space. Scoring on Macaone. Forces him wide, and eventually Macaone deals with it well. So
Second time tonight, Brady's had a chance to pull a shot in the box and just hasn't had the confidence to take it.
Second chance in the span of 2 minutes where it's an easy giveaway from the Polar Bears.
Brady's still just on one goal for the year. That one against Trinity earlier this month.
But yeah, on that Brady chance, kind of dragged that ball a bit too far wide by the time he was ready to shoot. His way off balance.
Cross coming in. Antich calls off Bargania and deals with it well. Surkov was lurking. Now he's going to have to sprint back to stop Bargania. It's a neat move, and eventually Attribution Das does well to get past his man in midfield.
With the shirt pull from Prince as well.
Now Demby. Yanez. Demby's overlapped, but Yanez is going to switch across to Gherkin. Schultz. Trying to go against Surkov, who does well with it in the battle. Attribution Das now. Prince this time comes away with it. Straight to Attribution Das. Gherkin. Trying to play it back to one of him or Schultz. And it was in between.
I like the idea, but if he just picks his head up, he has Mikey Brady in space in the box. I know he's struggled so far today and really all year, but he is your all-NESCAC striker. You got to give him a chance.
Speaking of all NESCAC, Bowdoin bring back on Tyler Huck as well as Arthur Dos Santos.
Yeah, really interesting starting lineup for the second half from the Polar Bears. Neither of those two in the starting lineup, as well as Ronaldo Cabral.
Yeah, Tyler Huck is an interesting one. He hasn't played a full 90 at all this year. We obviously know he won't do that tonight, but he played 3 last year. It wasn't unheard of, so they're being very careful with his fitness, or for whatever reason, Coach Rosinsky has been reticent to use him for full games. He gets a good touch there, trying to send in Dos Santos. It's cleared away. Ishibashi. Banks. Back to Ishibashi.
Yeah, Ishibashi, another one of those names who didn't start, so looked like that lineup that ended the first half continue that second half, and maybe perhaps the starting 11 will start to phase in eventually as this game wears on.
It's a high looping clearance from Bargania. One in the air by Jack Banks. Bargania gets it straight back. Manages to find Schultz. Surkov will force the throw in, but Schultz is taking it quickly. Brady's going to chase it into the corner. Going up against Kluski. Plays it back to Ainsworth. Manages to keep it in bounds.
Back square as well. Kind of dangerous.
Yeah, Bowdoin playing a little fast and loose out of the back right now.
Yeah.
Oh! That is a dangerous challenge.
Interestingly, Scott Rosinsky is the much more angry about that call than Kyle Desatel.
That's interesting because from what we saw 5 feet away, it was Bargania's face down and the foot coming out from Duran.
The foot.
And I think there's going to be a card here to Scott Rosinsky as the center ref has had enough of this. And after all the things we've heard coaches say over the years here on Bello, it is kind of fitting that in the final game of the regular season, we finally do find out what the threshold is for a coach to get booked in an SCAC game.
Yeah, we saw that at the end of the first half. I think a justified response. This one also very contestable, but will be a Tufts free kick after all that. Float into the box.
Gherkin's delivery. Takes a touch off of Feinberg, I think that was. Eventually it's cleared away. Dos Santos trying to hold it up. Finds Banks, who tries to improvise that one up towards Pacelli. It's a nice idea, but Pacelli couldn't get back towards it. Janers is cycling. And somewhat accidentally finds the way to the feet of Feinberg. Now Gherkin to switch sides. Couldn't get that one under control, and now Bowdoin trying to counter. Dos Santos has 4 or 5 runners ahead of him now. Looks for Surkov. It's a good first touch. Schultz is having to track back. It's a good low cross. Finds Huck. Gets past one. Oh, doesn't get past one challenge, as that was Bargania with a great foot in to prevent Tyler Huck from getting a dangerous scoring opportunity.
Yeah, it looked like he had skipped away as Bargania fell to ground. He thought that Huck was successful in his dribble, but Bargania, by going to ground, managed to get the touch through and away from the 18.
Now Pacelli. Again, can't get through Bargania. Octazandi Das sends that one long, asking Brady to battle for it with Kluski. Kluski is victorious. Huck less so. Perkins is going to check in now for Mikey Brady.
Yeah, this game really starting to open up now as we're going end to end with very little possession.
Yeah, starting to get a bit scrappy as well. As we know, he said that the stakes weren't that high, but perhaps both sides wanting to prove a point heading into the quarterfinals. That could very well be this matchup, so trying to lead the other team with some bruises.
Schultz miscontrolled that one. For anyone wondering on the fate of the Jumbo's women's team, they won 2-0 up in Brunswick. They have confirmed their 2 seed in the NESCAC tournament, and they will play host to a first-round game next weekend, as well as the men.
Yeah, both of them will be here on Saturday. First time both teams will be hosting NESCAC quarterfinals in 5 years.
It really has been a remarkable year for the Tufts general soccer program. Both teams currently in and around the top 10 in the USC polling. Now Bargania looking for a long switch. raking that one towards Yanez. Eventually Steinberg gets in the way and manages to head it back towards Ainsworth.
It was a good idea there from Bargania. The problem was Yanez gave up on that.
We'll, of course, be bringing you those NESCAC quarterfinals here on JumboCast next Saturday, of course. Nothing materialized from that attack opportunity.
Yeah, this game has really been featured full of long balls, long switches, and then contested headers as well, as we've seen that countless times. From both, yeah, the Tufts and Bowdoin backline.
Cabral ready to come in again for Bowdoin. Ishibashi trying to lay that one off for Pacelli. Gets a good first touch. Got the cross off of Clevio. It will be a Bowdoin corner.
It'll be their first corner of the night. And we'll see what the Polar Bears look like from the set piece.
Yeah, starting to really find their footing into this match and get at least some numbers on the score sheet, and on the score sheet, the stat sheet, the very minimum. So set piece here will be crucial for Tufts to be aware of.
Bowdoin only with one shot, but it is the only shot on goal of the game.
The one from Duran earlier.
Here is the corner, flicked on by Ishibashi. And Gherkin is happy to let that one roll out.
Really good communication there from Montich, letting Gherkin know that that was off a Bowdoin head. And the Jumbos will start from the back again.
Will be Reda Duran taking a break. We'll see if he gets some more action later in the second half.
Kind of shocking that we're 60 minutes into this game, and we've yet to see Reda Duran and Cabral on the field at the same time.
Yeah, it's, I mean, a combination that you'd think would work well on paper, but something that Bowdoin has opted not to do, as they trust Cabral and Huck to be that number one partnership.
Is interesting as well. Dos Santos, only a first year, has come in and really disrupted that natural, as you say, strike partnership. But he's been proving his worth as well. Nothing to show for it tonight. Penske finds Perkins. Improvising and both players going down, they call it on Perkins. They take it quickly to the Polar Bears. Here's Ishibashi. Surkov again with the overlapping run. Pacelli with a great move in midfield. And now he does find Surkov, though a bit further behind than where he wanted it. Cuts inside. Finds Cabral. Lines up the left-footed drive. Antich bobbles it. Pacelli gets the rebound, and he puts it into the net. Tufts won an offside. They're not going to get it. And for the second time this year on Bello, Tufts are trailing.
Took a deflection, that shot did, into the arms of Antich and then spilled out. But Bowdoin alert to it, quickly picking up. And Bowdoin have the lead on Bello after a quiet first half. Now have 28 minutes to seal this one up. But for Tufts, kind of a wake-up call. 5th goal conceded all year. This is uncharted territory in a way.
It is, and it's the first one that actually matters in an SCAC game. And all of a sudden, they went from feeling in complete control of their entire destiny to having 28 minutes to go chase a goal if they want to have home field advantage in the NESCAC tournament.
First time they've trailed in conference all season. And to Bowdoin, that is not something you would necessarily have expected coming into this game. And as you say, a wake-up call. They're the ones who have something still on the line here. They very much still have something to prove. Morgania trying to win an early corner to force things back in the Jumbo's favor.
He can't. It's going to be a throw instead. And you think back to that Bargania chance to kiss both posts and how different this game might be if that had found the back of the net.
Schultz lines up the throw-in. Flicked on by a Bowdoin player, Gherkin, with a great attempted volley. We've seen him score some brilliant volleys already this season. That one just wide of the target.
So now if the result does hold, it won't be a Tufts Bowdoin repeat. It will instead be a Tufts Hamilton matchup, which
that would be interesting for a different factor, because if current results hold, you would have 2 Tufts Hamilton 2-7 matchups here on Bello on Saturday.
wouldn't feel too much different than a normal weekend. Just two of the same teams playing each other, but obviously in different circumstances. So I think for the Jumbos, that number one, having that satisfaction of being number one in the conference and the ability to host the semifinal and final matchups will save them a lot of travel time. I think the benefits of being number one would be huge, but not in the cards right now.
It's a bit ironic from Bowdoin's perspective that the more comfortable they are going up against Tufts, the less likely they are to play them in the first round as Schultz finds Yanez on the left side.
Schultz taking a knock during that run, almost colliding into Perkins.
That's something we've heard so rarely, the PA announcing a goal for the opposition on Bello. I genuinely had to do a double take to remember what that
Mason
meant.
Schultz is down following that challenge in the attack. And the referee's going to blow play dead here.
Ben Werner instantly up and ready to come in, but that is not a good sign. As you say, the Jumbo is already light in those wide attacking areas.
Yeah, things not looking the brightest, things starting almost to collapse, and it was Matteo Pacelli who was the culprit for the Polar Bears, and well done by him to be alert, to be quick into off the mistake of Ontage, who kind of had life difficult off that deflection, but now 25, almost a bit more than 25 minutes to work with. These are the moments that test you. These are championship, not necessarily championship, but good ways to prepare you mentally for when times get tough in the postseason. So, a real test of character on the line now.
Tufts wasting no time at getting their attacking players on the pitch. Schultz is helped off. Does not look like he'll be returning in that current state, but also Ben Penske coming off, Will Nicholas and Ben Werner into the game. So Yanez will resume his typical midfield role. Perkins immediately called into action, wins the will it be a free kick? No, they're going to call that a throw-in. Looked like he was pulled back, but went out of play first.
Tufts will need to create something. We've seen this first 11 look so quality against NESCAC opposition throughout the year, but at many times they need to call upon Canfin to equalize when it mattered most or to get that result. And with no Canfin available, who will step up in these moments?
That has been the question for a while now, and the question still remains because no one has stepped up so far.
Here's Werner. He's pulled back. Doesn't get the foul, finds Gherkin instead. Gherkin still cutting, goes with a shot. Low, Ainsworth. Perkins!
Back of the net.
Well, we asked who was going to step up. The answer, the guy who's done it all year. It was Liam Gherkin putting it in a spot, and the one who was the hero at Amherst gives the Jumbos back where they belong, even with the Polar Bears 25 to go.
The man who did it last year in the quarterfinals does it again, collecting off that save of Ainsworth. And now, all of a sudden, it all seems like the energy's back, because for a while it didn't seem like we had any of those connections working, but Gherkin creating something, making it happen, may not be credited with the assist, but I think all the credit deserves to belong to the super senior. And for Perkins, how about him?
I'm going to say it now. If Liam Gherkin doesn't get an All-American this year, something is seriously wrong.
Oh,
because this is one of the greatest seasons for a Tufts midfielder in program history.
Agreed.
Seen some great goals from Gherkin. Now, if they do decide to credit him with that assist, as sometimes they do off deflections and weird bouncing balls, but that would be 8 on the year. But how about that? Gherkin delivering when it matters most. Perkins still not starting member of this side, but that super sub quality can be so valuable and feel so special.
He's getting such a reputation for those important goals at important moments. They all seem to be from very close range, usually within the 6-yard box, but that is as much a skill as curling one in from far out, being in the right place at the right time.
I think you're referencing the Amherst goal as well.
Yes.
Has that.
But also the goal in the quarterfinals, I believe, last year.
Yes. Yeah, right place, right time. Sometimes all it takes. Who will be in the right place at the right time for the last 25?
That one going to be pulled back for the foul there from Ben Werner.
Now how they will give Gherkin the assist on that one. Another goal involvement as he leads the team in points by some distance.
Yeah, it was competitive for a while. Then Liam Gherkin said enough of this and has pretty much involved himself in at least a goal a game since the start of October.
Trying to find Perkins again here. Cut out by Kluski. Steinberg pings that one out off of Will Nicholas.
Doing a good job there to at least recover, as he seemed to have chested that ball too far out wide, but decided to clear it into the chest of Nicholas.
Gherkin now deeper. Send that one towards Kluski. Surkov.
Double team.
Little body feint threw it off.
Coach Jessitel urging his men to get the second ball and chase after it, as they've done so throughout this game.
Surkov, who has been really impressive on this left-hand side defense for Bowdoin in attack and on the back line.
A little flick up there from Bargani as he received that ball and looked to ping it in the air instead of off the ground.
Perkins is chasing again, but Ainsworth shouldn't have any difficulty. Clears it long, takes no chances. Now Huck.
And Akhtar Zandidas is down holding his head, and the Jumbo's injury bug is not going away.
Henske, who just came on the pitch, is going to be called back into action here. As again, we said at the start of the year, two of the most deep positions for the Jumbos, winger and central defensive mid, and those ranks have been slowly whittled away. Akhtar Zandidas is up and holding his neck, but he looks to be willing and able to continue for the moment.
Yeah, it seemed to be a nasty 50-50, but one of the toughest members of this Jumbo squad for sure. Won't let anything like that face him.
This one laid wide for Ishibashi. Bargania. Perkins is dropped deep. He turns. Now looking to find Werner.
Great ball inside, but covered enough by Kluski.
You just get the feeling, the way Bowdoin's playing out of the back, that they don't feel 100% confident whenever they're passing the ball in a negative direction inside their own third.
Henske still prepping to come in here. Probably just a precaution. Akhtar Zandidas also came off with a slight knock against Hassan this past weekend. No reason to take any risk with that. This one sent wide for Surkov again. Cleared away. Perkins with the touch. Nicholas calls him off of it and takes control. Now Yanez.
Oh, that is so good.
Beautiful dummy leads for Gherkin, who finds Werner down the right.
Has to release early, though.
Met by Kluski. Kluski just heads it back into his own box. That's a dangerous decision as Nicholas puts in the cross. Not a great clearance. Comes out to Akhtar Zandidas.
That was deflected, I believe.
Certainly looked like it. Bowdoin don't want it to be, and they will get the argument right with the ref.
Akhtar Zandidas seemed to line that one up, but dragged that one wide as it was always curling away. But
It'll actually be Yanez coming off, so Akhtar Zandidas.
It's not
toughing this one
surprising.
out.
Danny Yanez has played 68, now 69 minutes of this game. His high on the season was 71 against Salem State, so he's almost at that. And if you want him to be fresh for the final 10 minutes or so, you need to give him a little bit of rest right now.
Macaone clears it away.
in an SCAC matchup as well, sometimes those minutes feel like a lot more as you're urged to do more running, be more involved in the play, and perhaps not as much in a non-conference matchup as Salem State was.
Now here's Huck, trying to impose himself on the matchup. Banks forces Surkov to slow down. Ishibashi, cut out by a combination of Henske and Werner. It's a good work rate from Ishibashi to try and keep that one in the Tufts end. He does get the throw in he wanted.
Yeah, a lot of bodies being thrown in there. Ishibashi almost throwing himself at it and forcing Akhtar Zandidas into an unwanted clearance, perhaps.
Tufts drop back very defensively. Bargania has this one marshaled.
Second time from Surkov, he's tried something fancy as he kind of had a little flick and spin, and I think early on the other side had a tried to attempt a no-look pass, so he's definitely feeling himself somewhat, but Tufts with another loose pass up ahead.
And let's talk about Tyler Hawk, because you mentioned him, Micah. It feels like we're barely saying his name as he comes on the ball here. It's been 4 career games now against the Jumbos. He's really yet to make a difference in any of them. Seems as if the Jumbos just one team he doesn't have the number on.
Yeah, it's one perhaps Tufts has prepared a lot for and managed to keep out, which has allowed some other names to take hold into this game. That one came off the hand of Bargania, and Ishibashi quick to let the referee know.
Yeah, Bowdoin really quick to restart play all day.
Cabral trying to get past Clevio. Nothing doing. Now Gherkin has Perkins ahead of him. He's forced to slow down. Now he goes long, but Perkins couldn't get on the end of that one.
Yeah, Ronaldo Cabral might be good, but unless he's Cristiano Ronaldo, he's not going to beat Max Livio 1v1.
Yeah, always a tough task. You mentioned that first team All-American quality. So, tough one to get past indeed. But we see Perkins on the other side, kind of, it's tough. He's not Cristiano Ronaldo either. He can't do everything on his lonesome, and playing as that sole number 9 can be difficult. So, needs that support from his wingers.
We saw this one coming. Ethan Jeck in a check-in. I'd imagine that's for Ben Werner. Does it tell Ben very animated about the work rate he wants from his winger?
Oh, and Demby going down on the far side wins the free kick.
Now that we're kind of at that parity, it seems like things have slowed down. Things not as intense as they were before, but that urgency can sometimes only be called in when you're down, and perhaps for Tufts needs to be something even when things are all level. So heading into the last 18 now. This will be the second to last regular season matchup in the NESCAC, as Amherst and Trinity are kicked off at 8. So
yeah, gotta love that matchup, always ending the regular season in the NESCAC. Don't really know why. There are no other regular season games that play at 8 o'clock except for the season ender between Amherst and Trinity, which always kicks off at 8.
So standings looking all but solidified, this one being the only real consequential one. As Trinity sit bottom of the NESCAC.
Here's Surkov, gets by Werner. Left-footed cross, only meets Clevio. Banks has time, lines up the volley, and Achizani managed to get the touch on it, and the offside flag is up against, I think that was Dos Santos coming back.
He was offside. He also got whistled for giving a shove there to Taylor Feinberg.
With 2 breaks in play, Ethan Jett still on the sidelines.
Well, the problem is neither of those breaks have been anything other than set pieces. You cannot substitute on a set piece in the NESCAC. That was a hand, but they're going to say Tyler Hawk knew nothing about it.
I think Tyler Hawk would tell you he knew nothing about it. Still doing everything he can with it. Finds Banks. Again, Surkov just forced to slow down a bit. Kluski's going to overlap, actually.
Yeah, it's another one of those where you kind of want it in your stride, and instead of having to track back, really slows the momentum and perhaps results in a ball like that that doesn't find its man and hands over the possession.
It's a bit surprising that at this point in the season, the last regular season game, there's still that miscommunication on the back end for the Polar Bears. Because that's certainly something that Surkov has showed willingness to do plenty of times.
Yeah, making it a run through far side to attack Bargania, who was on his lonesome, but Jet now finally in the game. Mikey Brady as well will look to see out these last 15, perhaps get on the score sheet himself.
See if he comes in right now. The answer is yes. He's going to come in for Perkins and will immediately look to insert himself as the tall guy is going to come up. Bargania going to set up this throw, which is in a really good spot to run a set play.
So Perkins' day is done, and what a day to have. And makes it 2 for 2 in the last 2 matches against Bowdoin. So getting all the congrats on the bench.
Here's the long throw from Bargania. Head from Feinberg, and Ainsworth up quickly.
Another good set piece off a throw from Bargania. That is a weapon the Jumbos have, and they have to be able to use it as we enter postseason play in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, that header Still a good effort from Feinberg, but not enough to threaten the goal of Ainsworth, as he was always looping and easy enough for Ainsworth to collect.
Now Gherkin trying to break through. Eventually cleared away, and Gherkin goes down holding his calf. Rolling up and eventually looks to be okay. Cross coming in now from the left. Nicholas. And it goes.
That's Ethan Jett! Header into the back of the net, making it 2-1 Jumbos. That was almost out of nothing. Quick cross, quick header, and the Tufts bench will run to celebrate.
Well, we've talked about it before, but Kyle Desautel's ability with substitutes is unfathomable. He brings Henry Perkins in within 10 minutes, he scores. He brings Ethan Jett in within 10 seconds, he scores, and the Jumbos are in front.
I tell you a surprising stat. That's Ethan Jett's first career goal. He's had one career collegiate assist in his first game ever against MIT. Has been radio silent in terms of goal involvement since then. Not for lack of trying. He's been an integral part, especially of the attacking lineup this season. But that is his first real thing to show for it, and what a time to get it. Give the Jumbos a lead with 15 minutes
Yellow
left.
card as well, kind of a risky play to throw him back into the thick of things, and perhaps risk getting another, but he responds, he rewards his coach's faith in him with a goal to make it 2-1 Jumbos, and to now really have their hands firmly on that #1 spot in the conference.
And what a ball from the first year. Will Nicholas, with his left foot from the left corner, just picture perfect, and all Ethan Jett had to do was make solid contact, and that was finding the back of the net.
Seems like Denby's been credited with it, but
I could have sworn that was.
yeah, I agree. It was.
I'm almost certain it was Will Nicholas who sent that ball.
Yeah, that seemed to be his play, but in any case, it counts as a goal, and for Jett, that must be a great feeling to score, not only in a match like this, but to reward your coach's faith in you, as we mentioned before.
Now Bowdoin trailing for the first time in this game with 15 minutes left.
And this has got to feel eerily similar for them to their Middlebury game, where they had a lead for large portions of that game, only to let it collapse in the final 10 minutes.
It's a soaring leap from Bargania to cut that one out. Still Bowdoin keeping it forward. Cut out again by Bargania, and he's taken out by Cabral.
And that was a frustration foul from Ronaldo Cabral. You could see it in his eyes as he stepped in there. And really, you can feel the frustration in this Bowdoin team. They've done so well for 65 minutes of this game, and then it just all has collapsed.
Yeah, done really well to get things going and to get onto the score sheet, but to let that one slip away from you, perhaps the most frustrating part, as now with Tufts having all the motivation in the world to hold on to this, will make that task even harder.
You saw the immediacy of the defensive or the attacking subs as soon as Tufts went behind. Now they're up. Immediate defensive subs, James Flagg and Gibson Campbell, as well as Rita Duran coming in for Bowdoin, trying to make things happen. As that was Cabral who got the touch. Pops free to Huck, trying to get a shot away. Penske gets in the way. Now Nicholas is going to chase this one down. Just clears it far out of the danger zone. Brady wins the header. Bowdoin recycle. Chips through the press, and here's Huck. Cross to Steinberg. Now Huck has some time and space. Into Banks. Surkov has been so involved in the second half again. Good move to get inside Jett. Tried to find the feet of Cabral, but Clivio read it well.
Max Clivio has been everywhere in this second half.
Just able to recognize when that threat is coming and get his body in front of it.
That one a bit loose as Kluski's going to have to run back and lose some attacking ground. Daniana is going to come back in for the Tufts, along with those two fullbacks. Cabral on the ball. Steinberg. In towards Bocelli, who goes to ground. He's going to win the free kick.
That is a soft foul.
Bocelli down right on the edge of the 18. Duran not on the pitch yet, but will he be favored to take this if he does come on?
I think the way he's setting it up, Bocelli wants this himself, though. Tyler Huck also is inserting himself right along that ball.
Very similar position to that goal they scored last year here on Bello, just a bit wider. Don't potentially have the same angle to get at Nick Antich.
And it is Huck, so he's a right footer, which means he can't bend it the way that Duran could. This is likely either going to be a shot to the near post or a ball whipped across the 6 looking for a back post head.
It's going to be the latter, and it's cleared away. Comes back to Huck, who goes to ground, and there's no call from the referee.
You could feel the entirety of Medford take a giant gasp before exhaling as the referee made that decision.
Yeah, Huck kind of going for the 50-50 there, perhaps seen as a fair contest rather than a foul committed. But will be Felipe Durand coming in now for Pacelli, and 3 tough subs making their way onto the pitch as well. Gibson Campbell, James Flagg, and Danny Yanez.
We've seen a couple times Alex Wall at left wing, but now James Flagg is fit again. He's the one who takes up the defender at wing position to close this one out.
Yeah, him and Gibson Campbell both getting their first career minutes as wingers.
Campbell called into action, still as a defender. Bargani with a nice move to get away from one. Still has space, and eventually feels the push in the back and takes a tumble. Bargani wants the card from that, but he's not going to get it.
Yeah, Bargani got away from Surkov and perhaps taking that personally as he hunted him down and made him pay for it.
Yeah, Bargani definitely going to be one of those who is going to feel this game tomorrow. The 4th time he's been fouled in this second half.
Yeah, I can see that wanting for a yellow, perhaps not in as much of a dangerous position, but definitely a cynical foul there from Surkov. As you mentioned, he was the recipient of that red card earlier in the season.
Less than 10 minutes as Yanez sends this one towards the penalty spot. Header by Dos Santos. Flagg is going to let that one roll out, and Tufts can take a couple more seconds off the clock.
I don't know if it's going to be a couple, could be a couple minutes, the way Danny Yanez is in no hurry whatsoever.
He's far away from that. So, heading into the last 10, as we mentioned, just a draw that Tufts needs, and the victory would feel much sweeter, though.
It is lined up for a victory right now.
A victory would move the Jumbos to the #1 spot, not just in the NESCAC, but in the NPI national rankings.
Yanez going to try and sweeten the deal. Another one late here. High delivery towards the back post. Penske gets a head on it, over the net. And that was Feinberg, I think, got the eventual touch. It's a great routine, but just couldn't keep the header down.
That's the same routine they ran against Middlebury that got Feinberg that chance that was saved off the goal line. It's been a weapon, but they've yet to be able to turn it into a tally on the score sheet.
Yeah, Penske doing a really good job to drive that headed back across the 6 very quickly, which kind of caught Bowdoin off guard, and Ainsworth kind of holding his breath as that one just clipped over the crossbar.
Here is Phillips. Into Huck. Trying to take matters into his own hands. Almost gets it back. Knocked his Andy Das. Takes the sting out of it. Now sent forward for Brady to chase. Macayone. Back towards Kluski.
That's really all Mikey Brady needs to do. Just keep forcing them back. Negative balls do you wonders at this stage.
It's something that I think Coach Estel prides himself so much on in his 2 strikers, and Perkins and Brady is just hustling and making lives difficult, even when they don't feel like it, because they know that that's what's worth it. That's the most valuable thing you can do in these later stages, perhaps when the goal is not the #1 priority.
Yeah, that is the fundamental reason why, despite the fact he's only scored once this year, Mikey Brady is still Desautel's first choice as the striker. It's because he puts in the work on offense and on defense.
Here's a low line drive lined up by Reda Duran. He gets the deflection. He's going to get a corner for Bowdoin.
That is a lucky call, because I can tell you with absolute certainty that deflection was off of Ronaldo Cabral.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like he came across that, but Tufts not too upset about it.
Henry Perkins also going to check in momentarily.
Cabral checking short. Campbell in pursuit.
Bowdoin taking a lot of time for a team trailing.
Out to the edge of the box, and Huck got well under that one.
That might hit someone on the field hockey game.
Yeah, that goes into engine, into the stands. Perhaps that's why they were taking their time to let that routine take its place, but poor execution there as that one sailed high over the Tufts net.
It is interesting. Something we haven't seen at any point this year until today. Taylor Feinberg coming over to take goal kicks.
He shows just why there. That was a boomer of a kick. Now Clivio trying to send it forward for Campbell. Can't find him as here's Phillips. Evades the challenge of Yanez.
Brady being told by Desatel to put in the work as Perkins is going to check in for him at the next whistle.
Gherkin also going to come in. So Tufts trying to get their starters back in just to finish things out. Here's Surkov, finds Ray to Duran, feels the shove in the back, and he's going to win another free kick. I think that one was inarguable.
As Borgani Wolfie, he got to the ball first and then perhaps through the man, but free kick now taken quickly again.
Every single one has been taken quickly.
Here's Duran. Cuts past Campbell, right-footed Travella cross, cleared away. Finds the way to Huck on the edge of the box again. Looking for space. Instead he finds Phillips. Here is Surkov. Going up against Campbell.
Good block there from Campbell.
Did well enough to keep it in bounds, and now Bowdoin couldn't get the corner, still trying to recycle things. And that's why you want to keep it there.
Poor giveaway there from Yanez.
Yeah, it would have been a great opportunity to relieve that pressure and move the Tufts lines up, but it remains Bowdoin ball heading into the last 5.
Brady out of gas.
Dos Santos gets through 1, gets through 2. Still going is Dos Santos. Finds right up Duran on the far side. Gets past Bargania. Cross coming in. Antich is behind it all the way.
And that's what you love about Nick Antich. It doesn't matter how hard you hit that ball. If you put it in a spot where he can get it, he's going to grab that ball.
Yeah, going back to the Duran Travella cross, I don't know if he's not too confident about his left foot today, but that's the second time he's opted to go for the outside of the right boot, perhaps instead of that lefty cross, but looked pretty nice and could have created something, but kind of an interesting choice.
That's
Definitely one of
great
the
note, Max.
Definitely one of those flair players. Has not been able to find the end product here. Here's Huck. Sends that one through. Ray Duran goes down again this time, and again he wins the free kick.
That'll stop the clock because it's a foul under 15.
Will be a yellow as well for his troubles.
It's Agdazandi Das, I think. Or no, will be Clivio.
Yeah.
I believe that is a 4th yellow for Max Clivio on the year as well.
Actually, take that back. That might have been Feinberg. Could not quite see who that was gestured to.
Kind of in the general direction of that Tufts defense, but Feinberg, in the end, I think is given that yellow.
It was Feinberg.
And now, we've seen this before. Ray Duran standing over a promising free kick here on Bello.
Talking about it with Huck. I'm sure Duran wants it.
It's almost the exact spot he hit it from a year ago. It was interesting. He hit that one with his left.
Surkov,
Surkov is unmarked. I don't know what they're doing.
Campbell picking up in the end, but
I'm sure they know that Ray Duran wants to take this. He does, but that is not something we expected given his quality last time.
he's upset with that. You know, you could see the flashbacks to last year, but not doing it this time around. So, kind of a missed chance. Would have been nice, but again, not as consequential now that Tufts are in the lead. So, would have been nice for him personally, though.
Antich and Feinberg just making Rueda Duran do some running.
And Perkins and Gherkin now in the game as well, who will see this one out. Coming in for Yanez and Brady.
Here's Huck, who's really only started to grow an influence in these last 10 minutes or so. Can only find Demby. Demby does well to fend off Ronaldo Cabral. Huck lifts it to Steinberg. Back to Huck.
Surkoff in all sorts of space.
Yeah, he's been one to watch here as well, as he normally does play farther back, but has found lots of freedom on that near side.
Here's Phillips. Into Rita Duran. Trying to light off Tuhuk. Gets there, gets past Flag. Gets past Gherkin. Lays it off to Phillips. Surkoff sprinting in off the byline. Cleared away.
Akhtar Sandidas with a big clearance there.
Bowdoin still pushing to get what would probably be one of their best results of the season if they could get this one equalized.
A lot of dangerous late challenges there, but nothing called. As Alex Wall, it is his time as he's set to check in at the next whistle.
Last year it was Ben Brown time. This year, Alex Wall.
Have the last 2 minutes 30 to work with, not even. As the Bowdoin attack is still on. Almost everyone in and around the 18.
Ainsworth on the edge of the circle. He's the furthest back as a Bowdoin corner coming. And Ainsworth will go to midfield here. So if the Jumbos are able to get any sort of clearance, they would have a chance to potentially shoot immediately.
Rita Duran called off the short corner. Flicked in. Antic can't get to it. And it's equalized here on Bello with 2 minutes to go. I think that was Macaione getting the final touch.
Quick corner routine catches the Jumbo sleeping. I mean, they had so many numbers up. Needed to track those run in. And for Macaione, all he needed to do was get it through on net. And Antic threw up a hand, but couldn't do anything about it. 2-2.
And I love the message from the Jumbo's bench. First thing they said as soon as that goes to the back of the net was a message to the whole team. Nothing changes. That's absolutely right. Sure, you've lost 2 points, but in the grand scheme of the NESCAC, it means absolutely nothing.
It's the first time since October 21st, 2023, the Tufts have conceded multiple goals in the game.
It's 2 goals where perhaps if they were a bit more alert, they could have seen out. But definitely stings heading in to the weekend, as if nothing changes with this scoreline, will be the very same matchup on Saturday.
Bargania going to come over to take the throw. Rain picking back up here on Bello as the Jumbos look to find a new friend in the corner flags.
Alex Wall time has officially begun. We'll just have 2 minutes to work with.
Call from Scott Rosinski, keep it on the field. They don't want Tufts to take any more time off this clock.
And Wall now will have time to make a mark, but kind of an unnecessary through ball, as assistant coach is urging just aim for the corners and keep it over there. Don't let Bowdoin create something themselves.
For a team that seemingly has its coaching staff wanting them to go for it, Alex Ainsworth is taking his sweet time restarting play.
I think he's happy with the 2-2 draw, perhaps.
It's a long goal kick. Gets past Wall, and they're going to call that a free kick in the end.
Gherkin.
Yeah.
Gherkin got away with one there. I mean, that's
absolutely
all signs of...
That's the second Jumbo Super Senior to get away with what should have been a yellow today.
I mean, that is time wasting defined, and referee opting not to do anything about it.
Bowdoin's also moved this ball up about 5 yards from where this foul occurred.
Keep Tyler Huck on this one.
This will be the last play of the game. Under 20 seconds to go.
Some interesting conclusions to both of these halves. Still no free kick taken.
There's 10 seconds left. I don't know what Tyler Huck's doing.
He plays it wide. Now they put it on frame. Antic claims it, and that will be your NESCAC regular season champions, the Tufts University Jumbos.
Well, they literally had to go to the last second to secure it. But in the end, for a team that has prided itself on the defense all year, it was the offense stepping up in the second half to give the Jumbos their most successful NESCAC regular season in program history.
And what a way to do it. I mean, first half, not much going on. Barely, not even a shot registered for the Polar Bears. Almost a chess match, as I was saying before. And now an all-out blitz in the second half. 4 goals total. First began with Pacelli. Tufts responded to take the lead through Jet, through Perkins. And then at the very end, Makayone on that corner to make it to all. I think this is definitely picked up in all sorts of ways. So, we'll be back on Saturday.
Well, actually, we're going to step aside momentarily. We'll be back with some post-game content. Well, we get to ask the Jumbo's players firsthand what they feel about having to do this all over again in 96 hours. Stay tuned. I'm here post-game with Jumbo Super Senior Captain Max Livio. Max, it was a hard-fought one the whole way, but you guys got what you needed. The best regular season NESCAC performance in program history, 24 points. What's that feel like? For the first time in your illustrious 4 years here, you guys are now hosting the NESCAC tournament.
I mean, it feels great. We've worked hard. Uh, my last 3 seasons here haven't ended the way we wanted it to, and it just lit a fire under me, the other fifth years, as well as all the other guys that are on the team. We knew we wanted to work harder than we've ever worked to achieve something we have never achieved, and we've done it so far. A bit disappointed with how things went tonight, but none of it matters anymore. It's just knockout play from now on.
Yeah. Speaking of fires being lit, it seemed as if there was a spark that just was lit as soon as that first Bowdoin goal went in. You guys seemingly switched it into second gear. What's that kind of indicate in terms of where you guys are playing and where you guys maybe want to be mentally going into postseason play?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with postseason play is that any game, if a team shows up on the given day, your season can be over if you don't do what it takes. And today it kind of felt like that. It was actually the first game where we knew going in we didn't have to win, and I think that was honestly worse for us, knowing that we didn't have to get 3 points. Kind of allowed us to pull back a little bit, and it really showed when Bowdoin went up 1-0, and it did light a fire under us. And I think from here on going forward, like we have to show up, and even if the ball isn't bouncing our way, even if players aren't having their best game, we can't feel sorry for ourselves, because if we go down 1-0 and another team holds on, our season can be over.
Yeah. So you guys are the 1 seed, which means you're now going to play the Polar Bears again in 4 days. But Bowdoin, not exactly what you consider a typical 8 seed. They are a very talented, very physical team. What does today give you in terms of a preview, having seen them now and getting to see them again just 4 days later for the third time in 4 years?
Yeah, I mean, last year as well, we played them last regular season game and then first game of the tournament, and I think that happened my first season as well. So obviously, there's a bit of a rivalry between us. Going into this game, a win or a tie or a loss didn't matter for them. They were always going to be the 8th seed, and I think we've seen that they have some great players. They can step up away. They scored 2 goals on us away. That's the first team all season that's put 2 goals in our net. So obviously, we have our work cut out for us, and we know what they're capable of. If we don't show up, like, our NESCAC season is over.
That is a great point. Last question before I let you go. Talk it out with the team. You guys have shown all year you just don't give up. But in the last couple of moments, we've had to ask who's going to be the hero. It seems as if every day there's a new hero. What do you guys preach that kind of allows different players to step up? I'm thinking Ethan Jett tonight had not contributed to a goal since his debut and then scores the biggest goal of his career when you needed it most.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said at the start, everybody's hungry this year, and everybody's been putting in work, and the team now more than ever feels like a brotherhood, and I think that takes a little bit of pressure off guys' shoulders. Like when you have Taylor stepping up last weekend with 2 assists, Taylor's had some match winners. Danny had a great pass to me, and Perk ended up having a great goal against Amherst. Different guys stepping up takes a little bit of the pressure off, other guys who are usually the ones expected to step up, and it just means that when a guy has his moment, he has his moment, and I think that everybody's hungry for it on set pieces. Like everybody wants to score, and it's shown. I mean, we have more set piece goals than anyone else in the country, and when you have guys who are willing to step up in a moment like that, when you're down 1-0, when you're down, 1-0 in the last minute, like against Babson, different guys just want to step up, and different guys want to have their moment, and that's what you need in a championship team for sure.
Well, you might not have gotten the result you wanted tonight, but you guys did absolutely make some history. The best regular season in program history. Go celebrate, Max.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to let Max go here. And I'd just like to thank the other members of my crew. Zachary Miller doing a phenomenal job directing on Tune to Win. Up top on the cam, across the field was Karsten Lyle, getting you all those gorgeous reverse shots for Max Antonini and Micah Baum. I've been Riley Daniel. I'm going to remind you that we're not going anywhere. We'll be in Cousins tomorrow for volleyball versus Endicott. Friday, as volleyball has a big NESCAC finale against Wesleyan. And then we'll be right back here for not one, but two NESCAC soccer quarterfinals, 11 and 1:30 on Saturday. Stay tuned.